So welcome everyone. So today, I'm very excited to do this kind of training today because it's something that I spend a lot of my time thinking about. And that is more about the emotional side of clearing our clutter than the actual physical side of clearing clutter. So the title of my talk today is going to be releasing the emotional and energetic clutter in our lives. So I'm going to just start by asking you today, are you living in your true power? I know that's a really big question. What is for you your true power, so that what you're taking even more of the emotional mastery, living and doing your life and your business and your fun and your pleasure, all from a place of ease and clarity and awesomeness. So your environment is going to reflect the how that you are doing. And let me say it a little bit of a different way. The how you're doing what you're doing is going to be reflected in your physical environment. So if there's a lot of clutter around, that's the reflection of what's going on within you. And those could be more mental attitudes, more worries and frustrations, and they can be things that we're not even really all that connected with in terms of our own, rich inner life. Carl Jung talked a lot about the unconscious, and a lot of times things will bubble up from our unconscious that we're not even like aware are affecting us in that way. Now, some people have a natural ability to keep their home in harmony, and most of us have to really put a lot of attention into it. It doesn't come naturally for me, for sure. So, what can we do to really ground ourselves in a way that we really get this kind of emotional mastery over our experiences? So I just want to ask you, as we begin today, do you think about a room in your home or some place? It could be the basement, the garage, even like a drawer in the kitchen that has been on your mind to clear and to do some work around, but you just can't seem to get the energy to open to that. And and you don't really even know why. So, whether it's a procrastination or a little inertia, this is the kind of thing that we want to like dive into a little bit of a deeper layer of what may be going on within our experience. Okay, and I don't know if any of you were at my class a few months ago, but we really did get into the physical, the physical environment and many little projects that you can do to clear the clutter in your home. And so today, I feel like let's go revisit that if you want to. I think it's on my YouTube channel, Diane Young Sussman. So that that first material that we were playing with is really about how to clear your desk and and clean your home, all those possibilities. So what is going on with us as what I call energetic beings, that we are so highly sensitive to the frequencies, and clutter holds a dense frequency. It holds a low frequency. So if you think about like the dust that accumulates in a room, that's like a heavy, low frequency. So what would be a high frequency is just really opening to the confidence and the sweetness of what, like if you were to walk into your space in after a long day where you're feeling a little bit tired, and it just brings your energy up. You have the things in your home that, really make you happy and really make you feel calm and centered. So I call these your creator energies, where you have ease and calm and control and certainty and confidence in the choices that you're making. So there's a lot of what we're talking about today is a lot about the doing, but underneath the doing of of the clearing, there's something else that may be happening that that keeps you stopped in your tracks. It's like, oh no, I really need to clean my house, but I just don't have the energy, or I just don't know where to start. So it may not be, unsuccessful in terms of what you actually do, but those feelings and those energies that are underlying are going to, they need some loving care and attention. So in thinking about doing, and productivity, actually, one of the things that I love to teach about is something that I learned from reading a book by Stephen Covey called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I don't know how many of you have read that book, but let me just quickly tell you the story of in that book, because I still remember it. So anyway, Stephen Covey had a son, and he was invited to speak at his son's elementary school. And so what he did was he brought with him a jar, and he, opened up this conversation with the kids, and he had put 6 rocks in his jar. And he said to the kids, is this jar filled up? And the children said, oh yeah, the jar is filled up. And he goes, wait a minute. And then he put pebbles on top of the jar in the same jar. And sure enough, the pebbles, filled in all of those spaces. So we had the big rocks and then the pebbles. And then he said, so now, is this jar filled up? And the kids said, oh yeah, it's filled up. He goes, but wait a minute. And he pours sand in, between the pebbles and between the big rocks. And he says, okay, now is this jar filled up? And the kids said, oh yeah, now the jar is filled up. So all of those spaces had been filled. And once all the spaces had been filled, he said to the children, yes, now the jar is filled up. So, the moral of the story is if you put your 6 rocks in first, those are the most important things that you have to do in a day. And other kind of things are going to be filling in your space. And eventually all of the little sand that is going in, you're going to think those are the most important things, but they're not. So what is most important to do is to choose every day what your 6 rocks are going to be, and then get a good start on those. In one of my productivity courses that I had years and years ago, someone was talking about a power hour, that the best thing that you can do for productivity is actually start your day, or after you've done your meditation and your exercise, or whatever you start with, the self-care practices that you do in a day, to start your day with your 6 rocks, or focusing on the maybe the 1, 2, or 3 most important things to do, and use that power hour to really get into it. You know, if you're procrastinating, for example, on making phone calls to, you know, your potential clients or things that you need to do those first. And I'm going to say that story of productivity is the same work that we want to do of clearing more of the emotional and energetic clutter in our minds and in our lives. So my intention for today is to help you feel 100% better about your home environment. It's a big ask, right? 100% better about your home environment, and start to get a better handle on your inner landscape. Those thoughts of, you know, yes, but I should be doing this, but, you know, all the little shoulds that are holding you back from actually, you know, being just going ahead and doing what you're doing. So let's think about, actually, before I talk about my 5-step plan here, because I do have a little protocol to take you through in order to really get a handle on what is going on under the surface in that unconscious mind when we really feel like we can't get things done. So go ahead and, you know me, I'm a body person. So we're going to just take a few minutes to, you know, just come present to yourself. And, you know, you can come to the front of your chair if you want, placing your feet on the floor. And just really take a few moments. You can close your eyes for this. Really come into the body and noticing whatever it is that's coming up for you. Maybe something has triggered your creativity from what we've been talking about already, or just maybe the musing of, you know, what is my inner landscape? What are those thoughts and feelings that are getting in my way from doing what I say I want to do, or what I'm thinking about what I'm wanting to do? And then allow that to extend to your physical environment. So first, our environment is going to be within, taking a few moments for ourselves and cultivating a deep sense of just presence and trust in ourselves. And just to know that you're, in doing this and slowing down, you're giving yourself a real treat of self-care and self-love. And breathe. And to realize that you are never on anybody else's agenda. You don't have to answer for anyone else, and you certainly don't have to take the advice of other people for you. So that you're reclaiming your own true identity, purpose, meaning for you in life. Okay. So this helps you actually step more fully into your own authority and sovereignty. And that you can, even from this place, really create better boundaries. Yeah. I mean, I know that I am one to let other people kind of identify and you know, have me do their bidding. So emotional clutter can often be reflected in relationships as well as your environment physically. And just you can go ahead and open your eyes now and look around your room, look around your space. And we're going to just see whatever is alighting your attention in this moment. I did this in the other class that I taught on our physical environment, but it's always good to do. It's like, well, you've created your space. This is your bounty. This is your beauty. This is what you've decided is important in your life, in your world. So just look around and notice if there's something out of place. If it feels like there's something in your space that you would just love to, to blink your eyes and have it all taken care of. You could be on the desk. You could have a little clutter on your desk. It could be, something that you've had on your mantelpiece, or, I'm sitting here in my living room. So wherever you are, it's like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't noticed that object in a really long time. I wonder about it. And then allow yourself to just wonder, like, why do I have that here? What is that? What is that about? And it can be a positive or a negative, feeling state. So, and then where in your body are you feeling that? Does it cause some like worry or, consternation for you? So one of my mentors talked about how you do one thing is how you do everything. I've always remembered that line. How you clear and simplify your environment is very important. And this can become, a dance for you to witness how you're opening and expanding your own consciousness and what the Buddhists call right action. So you can do everything with a little bit more attention, love, and conscious awareness. And in doing that, you give yourself the gift of ease and breath and freedom. So it's really the satisfaction that comes to you because you're in your power, right? You've made the choice to keep something in your environment or to move it. And what I'm going to talk about today is that there's clues in regarding where we are now and what you can envision being for yourself a few months from now, or a few years from now, even. So it's these small acts of respect and love instead of, this overpowering sense of like, oh, I can't finish this. I can't do this. So, and really what I'm talking about also is my wish for you today is that you can find those clues regarding where you are now and see that things can change as you slow down and reconnect with yourself. The secret is to find a way within this deep listening in the body mind and coming from a place of what I call embodied intelligence, so that you're building your fantastic life based on what it is that you're most wanting, and getting rid of, simplifying and letting go of what you don't want. And this is the hardest part, because we're not really sure of why we're doing what we're doing, and we're not as clear as we need to be on how we can manage to make a shift. Okay, so it's really deep work on how to heal what I call self-sabotaging, what those behaviors that we have, that the physical environment is an expression of, and how you are feeling about yourself. So it's really important to slow down and do less and breathe a lot while you're doing this work, because a lot will come up for you, or potentially come up for you. Yeah. So what we're saying here is that we're making a fundamental choice to be the predominant creative force in our own lives, and how we're doing one thing, and bringing that conscious attention and loving awareness to it can make a big difference to you. So I heard a quote from Henry David Thoreau that said, "As you simplify your life, the laws of the universe will be simpler." And I really love that quote because, you know, it's like we get in our own way. We are adding and putting layers and layers of confusion on things that, as we just start to do less and let go and let be, let the inner wealth of our own experience and our own desires take you know, a front seat in our lives, that we can really peel away a lot of that past programming in order to reveal something that's quieter, maybe more free, more open, more simple in our lives. And it's really sometimes the stuck energy being released doesn't, you know, it doesn't feel good. So we're going to be in resistance from it. And you know, I call this work not cleaning so much as clearing, because when we're moving energy, when we're moving stuck energy, when your focus and your attention is getting on what it is that is underlying, you know, the procrastination or the inertia, those are the kind of the two main emotions that I see activated when we're you know, in kind of a confused state about what we want to do, what we should be doing. You know, it opens a lot of guilt and maybe even for some people a feeling of shame that you haven't been able to, you know, take care of yourself, your environment, your work, and even your business, because these other emotions are, you know, taking much more precedence in the little anxiety or the low level depression that can come up. And then we're suddenly in this rather negative space. So again, now, when you look around your space and you notice what feels out of place, give yourself some time to feel where it is in your body that resistance is, you know, energetically coming from. So my big deal where I feel the most clutter in my life is actually in paper clutter, in the papers that I have on my desk, the stacks of notes that I've taken that I haven't put in files. And I start to look around going, well, you know, I could take care of this. I could give myself some time to do this. But then that underlying emotion comes up that says, I don't have enough time to do this. So this is just something that I've noticed about my habit, my tendency and my habits, which is I think I don't have enough time to do the clearing. I feel like, you know, this frustration coming up. I feel it in my solar plexus. It's like, you know I should be taking care of these things, but I don't have the time. And then when I go into that feeling and just really feel it in the body, it's related to something else. And it's related to, for me, something like, well, I don't have the time because I really need to be building my business. You know, I need to be marketing my business. And I'm, you know, so there's an energetic there that holds inside the nervous system that just causes, you know, just a low level of anxiety. I could also have a a pretty joyful desire to, get the clutter out of my room. So sometimes it's not just one emotion, that it's a mixture of feelings. Like, I know I can do this, but I also feel that anxiety because, because the anxiety of not feeling like I have enough time to do it. And underlying that, that's where the therapy lies. That's where the inner work lies. Because if I were in a state of just pure inner knowing about what I want and had that productivity, knowing what my 6 rocks were for the day, I would take that power hour, I would do the work. And because I'm not doing the work, there's got to be something underneath that. And that's what I'm calling the first step of bringing loving attention to being able to create a change in the emotional and energetic aspect of clearing is resistance. Noticing your resistance and what that is. So resistance can come in lots of different ways. The kind of procrastination that can come and not, clearing and decluttering your space, it's connecting more with the emotion behind the activity. So can you connect with an emotion that is behind the activity? And I used my example of the anxiety of feeling like I don't have enough time. I mean, that is, if I could crack that nut, it would make a big difference in my joy and calm and confidence level, because I would be willing and able to just flow with whatever it is that is needed to do in the moment, and be able to let go of, of maybe the other, or the overlay of feeling like I'm not doing it right. Mm-hmm. And so to that end, I want to talk a little bit about when we feel that all right, so when we're feeling like we have to perpetually get ready for something, or even worse, waiting until the conditions are favorable for us to do something, that is an energy of perfectionism coming in. And like, I love to do things carefully and beautifully and completely. But when we're in an energy of perfectionism, it actually stops us from going, of actually just getting the work done, the clutter taken care of, the business taken care of. It's in this state of wait, like you're in a kind of perpetual state of waiting until everything's perfect. And even worse than that, waiting for the conditions to be more favorable, which they will never be. So what we want to do, actually, I got this water jar from a recent 3-day workshop I was in. It's called Progress, Not Perfection. And I was taking this workshop on how to do an online seminar, like over a number of days, or a full day seminar with people. And these two wonderful people, I've known them for a long time. Sage and Blue is their name, and they were really sharing the most important aspect of making change in your life is just doing it without it being perfect, progress, not perfection. So they gave us this water bottle. I got it in the mail right before the workshop, and it was a reminder that if you're ready to do, if you're ready to be and get your good work out in the world, or your beautiful art in the world, you just do it. You just start by by letting go of that need to be perfect, and things will really start changing a lot. Okay. So the second step, so once you get a handle on your resistance, the second step is to pause. And this is a very Alexander approach. Alexander technique talks about inhibition, making a decision to pause before you do in order to assess and really come present with yourself. So breathing, taking that moment to pause and breathe is a very quick way to shift the energy. At first, we need to understand what we're resisting. And that's more of the psychophysical, the mental aspect of procrastination and overwhelm and inertia. But the first real tool that you can use to undo those knots, right? Just think of a yarn, like a ball of yarn with lots of knots in it. Undoing that is just take a moment to breathe. And then the third step is take a moment to breathe and then listen to your body. So that inner listening, also becomes a tool that you have to, to get some clues about where you are and what's actually happening. It brings you in the present. It brings you into the body. It brings you into the intelligence of, of your own embodied state. And so you're no longer like, swirling around and spinning around in the mind. You're in yourself. You're grounded into the earth and allowing yourself to, have the glory really of, of being a living being and really choosing to, slow down and just take that step to, to connect with yourself. So anyway, so then the next part of this, the fourth step is a little bit more elusive. And I wanted to, actually, I've been talking a lot already, but I want to get you moving just a little bit, just for a few minutes. So the next step is to really open to the space and to spaciousness. So what is the space that you're opening into? And let's physicalize that just for fun. Come into standing. I'm going to move my computer just a little bit so I can so you can see me standing up. I know, and then finding your way into standing as well. And we're first just going. You can close your eyes for a moment and allow yourself to, let me see. Yeah, I'm sorry, my head is a little cut off here, but I want you to just really take a moment to open your arms, bend your knees a little bit, and then just start to sway, be in the space. And like we did in the beginning of our time together today, allowing yourself to start to feel a little bit of movement within your body. And, if you can express through the hands, through the feet, feeling yourself, very much like in your space. And as you're doing this, allow your eyes to roam. Allow your eyes to just move around your room. And again, you're seeing your space as if from fresh eyes. So I actually have a lot of clutter in my living room that I'm so unaware of, because it's just my room. But as I'm looking around with fresh eyes, I'm like, wow, I have a lot of stuff in this space. And, it's just, again, it's that feeling of, okay, can I breathe with it? Can I feel in my body without having to make an evaluation of what is there? And I wonder if that feeling without deliberating on like an attitude with it can really just start to change the energy and allow me to feel a lot of peace with what I have and what is here. And you're just feeling that peace. And now from within, spaciousness is actually coming into the three dimensionality from your heart energy. So I want you to go ahead. You can leave the computer behind and just start to walk around your space with this feeling like you're expanding into the space, that you're filling your energy all the way from the ceiling to the floor. You can extend energetically all the way to the other side of the room, that you're really inhabiting your own space in your own room. And it should feel a little bit more free and open for you. And if you want to play with this as a dance, you can actually kind of cut into the room too, like get into like a little staccato movement, right? Energetically giving yourself permission to, to really move through and move around, taking that time to expand, maybe go into a big circle, and feel how good it feels in your body to really express through a sense of spaciousness. And then bringing your hands somewhere on your body to finish, just giving yourself some time, feeling your legs underneath you, grounding you. And then coming back into your chair. It's like we're finding a way to bring ourselves back home to ourselves in our space. And psychologists talk about co-regulating. Emotional mastery has a lot to do with being able to function in a way that allows you to come back to a sense of safety and pleasure, even openness to your own experience. And it's a really beautiful term for giving yourself the time that you need to really, really take things slowly and do less in your life. And the reason why we need to co-regulate is that our nervous systems get so charged up. And we don't even realize it, but the kind of low-level stress that's going on in our day-to-day, hopefully that's not going on as much when we're in our own home environment and feeling the quiet and the safety of the home. But certainly when you're out in the world, out in the space, going about your day, we're being bombarded all the time with noise and sound, and we need time to really come more present to our own experience, our own truth, our own ability to calm ourselves, to soothe ourselves, to release the nervous system. Now, I did mention or promise that in the class today, I would give you a tool for working with the calming the nervous system. And so I'm going to teach you a process that helps co-regulate your nervous system that is coming from going from the sympathetic nervous system, which is your charged nervous system. It's called fight, flight, and freeze, right? Fight and flight. It is so deeply, innately part of our brain function that we very easily get charged up and into that sympathetic fight or flight nervous system. And that's where you're feeling and experiencing high levels of anxiety. But the hardest one, the most dysfunctional part of that fight, flight, and freeze is actually the freeze of the sympathetic nervous system. It's when we're not calm and we're so charged up that we can't move. And if you think like deer in the headlights, right? You see an animal that sees headlights in there and they can't figure out what's going on, so they just stop. And of course, for a deer in the headlights, it's the dumbest thing that they could possibly do. But for us, that same freeze can very easily come in when we're really anxious. And so what I'm going to do with you today is give you a very simple exercise. And it's an exercise that works with the vagus nerve. Now, your vagus nerve is one of the 10 cranial nerves in the head center. It actually comes out of the brainstem. And vagus means wanderer in Latin. So it's a very long wandering nerve that goes through a number of your organs, like it goes through the lungs, it goes into the stomach. So it really works a lot through the whole body. And when the vagus nerve, when we are in freeze, we're actually back into the much older part of the vagus nerve. We've fallen into the dorsal side of the vagus nerve. And what we want to do is be able to come back into the ventral side of the vagus nerve. So this little exercise I'm going to do with you is pretty simple. We want to just bring our hands and interlace your fingers behind your head. I don't know if you've done this before. This is my favorite way of doing this exercise. There's a number of different ways that you can do it. Now you're using your hand, pressing your elbows out a little bit, using your hands to press into your head to stabilize your head. That's all we're doing here with the head. We want to keep it super stable. All right. And now you're going to let your eyes look over to your left, my right, your left. And you're just going to keep looking it might take up to 30 to 60 seconds to do this. But what you're doing is you're waiting for like a second breath to come in or a yawn. There's my yawn. I do this a lot, so I'm pretty fast at this point of doing this process. And when you've finished that, you can feel when it happens. It's actually a little bit of a change in your physiology. Bring your eyes back to center, and then we're going to bring them to the other side. So now my left, your right. Let your eyes look. It looks kind of funny from outside, but you're looking at keeping your eyes looking over to that side. And just wait. Be patient and wait. There's my yawn. I'll wait for you. So once you've had the yawn or sometimes it's not quite a yawn, but just like a sigh or a double, like you'll take a second breath in. you'll feel what it feels like to you to to have that going. And so we've just shifted the energy of the vagus nerve. So it's a really, really powerful co-regulating exercise to do to bring more calm to your system. Very, very beautiful, very powerful. All right, I still have to tell you one more step, and that is the 5th step of this little, protocol here for connecting in with the emotional and energetic aspect of decluttering. And that is taking action. Okay, it's the obvious. So I'm going to give you some homework to do. Back when we were looking around the room in the beginning of the class, and you were seeing something out of order, and then taking the time to breathe and listen to your body, and maybe listen to some of this negative self-talk that's going on about it, like, oh, I really should have, taken care. I had some negative self-talk when I was looking around my room. I saw more clutter than I realized I had. And we can so easily go into overwhelm when we have that feeling, that experience. So we don't want to go into overwhelm. We want to be able to do something. And my suggestion for taking action is that you do something very small. Remember, we were talking and defining clearing, the word clearing as not cleaning so much as clearing energy. Because once you move an object, you're actually moving energy. And in moving energy, you have the possibility of change. And that's what is being cleared. So the clearing itself is, it's allowing yourself to call your power back, to bring your mastery back, your emotional mastery, to say, yes, I am in control of my life. I'm stepping into my power. I choose this. Nobody else gets to make these decisions for me. I'm making boundaries. I'm giving myself the love and the attention that I need to live my own beingness, right? Living in my own sovereignty. So it may seem like I'm just putting all these papers in a stack. That's my homework. All I'm doing is one little thing. If I had papers, strewn around my desk and I see that clutter, the first step is not filing the papers. The first step is just a baby step of, okay, I can do this. I can put these papers in a stack. And that's the clearing itself. It's moving the energy and getting that clearing taken care of. So I hope this has been valuable for you. I would love to open it up for any questions that might have come up for you, or thoughts or inspirations. So all you have to do is take yourself off mute. If you're on mute, I think Audrey, you're
No, I think I'm on.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
So is there anything that came up for you in this? It's a little ephemeral, this work, because changing and doing physical clearing and decluttering is like very tangible. It's in the world, but the emotional piece of it is like what I think of as like a layer underneath that there are reasons why we can't begin. There's reasons why everything just feels dense and heavy when we know that we have something that we want to do, but we aren't doing it. And generally speaking, there's something else going on underneath the surface that we want to get to.
I'm thinking if this is actually a physical thing. My house right now is a bit of a mess. The contractor has been delayed, comes a day, then he disappears, and I don't want to put pressure on him. There's nothing that is keeping us from cooking or showering or using a computer. So I'm kind of like training myself to put the stuff out of my mind, pack it up, make it neat, leave it. And I think I'd like to do that with other things that aren't physical. And it's not as easy. It's really a work in progress to, accept some things that are going on and try to work a way around it or find a mechanical solution to it. I don't know if I answered your question.
It's beautiful. And, you're already expressing that, I can see the wheels turning in your head. It's like there's something going on that I don't have any control over. The contractor is late, the contractor is delayed. And how do I want to deal with that? Can I, I could be angry, frustrated, discombobulated, but I'm going to work with this because look, I can do everything I need to do. It's just, the house is a bit of a mess right now. So, as long as you're not suffering from a lot of dust and, things that like when there's a half-finished product or a project, that you can find your own equanimity within that and still be at peace, within yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what you're sharing, that you see that as a potential.
My other thought of like calming myself that this will get done is that he worked for us before, and he's the first person that really has not taken advantage of me. And he does a good job. And so I'm like, he'll get here, he'll do his thing.
Yeah.
But there's always that fear that you'll get taken advantage of. But with him, that's the one piece that I do have. Might take 2 more months.
Yeah.
But it'll get done and it'll get right.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm hearing you say is that you actually trust him, that there's a high level of trust, and that that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Anyone else want to share?
Just that when you talked about the paper clutter, that's always a problem for me, getting rid of the paper quickly enough. So I kind of related to that.
Yeah, I do too. And it's also in the inbox. Like part of paper clutter is actually our mail in our computers. So that I don't know if that happens to you, but by the end of the week, if I haven't been reading my emails, I can have like 400 or 500 emails at the end of the week that I haven't read. So I have developed a system for that. But paper clutter is a really big issue. If you have a system for filing, you're really, you're better off than most are, but we still have to do it. And that's where I find, like, I do have a system. I have hanging files and I label them, and, I put the same, like if I've been studying something, I put it all in one folder. Same thing with taxes, same thing with, with bills. And that potentially is in great order for me. But if there's a reason why I'm not doing it regularly. And, I shared with you my own experiences that I always feel like I don't have enough time to do it, which is ridiculous because I have enough time to do all kinds of other things.
Right.
But, it must not be enough of a priority is what I'm thinking. That I can tolerate a certain amount of paper clutter in my space before, it gets too much, and then I have to take care of it. So I'm like up against the wall, when I'm up against the wall, when the paper stacks get high. But I already did my homework that I was suggesting that we do one little thing and put my papers in a stack. This is all that I have to do right now. So it's actually in pretty good shape for that. I will say that you're bringing up a really big topic about how we live with other people in the home. So, I can be pretty good with filing, but if my partner isn't, then, that's going to be a real issue also. So, because I don't have control over what he is, how he's arranging his papers. And okay.
I'm going to say thank you. I need to run now. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. It was
Sure.
great to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Diane,
Yes.
that is a multi-purpose room that you're in. How can you criticize yourself?
Oh, yeah. Well,
It's a living room, it's an office, it's a
mhm,
studio.
mhm.
Nobody's tripping on anything.
I know, that's true. It can be very creative. Once we move into those underlying issues of what's really going on, for me, it's all about bringing my power back, stepping into my authority. So I give it an opportunity to be a reflection of my physical environment, becomes a reflection of what's going on inside of me. And it's like it gives clues. Our physical environment gives clues about how we're doing. How well am I feeling these days? So as I bring more harmony and beauty into my home, partly by doing less, by simplifying, by dusting, by cleaning, those kinds of things, that it just builds more joy, more contentment, and that to me is the higher value.
Yeah.
So these kinds of trainings should be about energizing us instead of shaming us. So I hope that I really got that point across, is it's we have more control in our environment than we realize.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've reached the top of the hour.
Okay.
So I look forward to doing more trainings like this one, and I hope you got some value out of it, and I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.